Hi, I'm Glenn Rogers, and this is American Perspectives. Today we're going to talk about the Green New Deal. You've been hearing about it for a couple of years now, but it's getting closer to becoming a reality, and so I thought maybe it's something that we need to talk about a little bit today. So we're going to start with a couple questions. Number one, is climate change real? Yes, it is. Are worldwide temperatures going up? Yes, they are. Well, could that be a bad thing? Well, it depends on how much they go up and in what time frame. Those are pretty simple questions, no-brainers, really. But here's a more important question. Should the U.S. spend trillions of dollars in the next 10 years to eliminate all fossil fuels from America? And that's really the question, isn't it? How should we deal with climate change? So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, let me take just a moment to ask you to help us out and subscribe to our channel. It really does make a difference. It doesn't cause any kind of problem for you. Nobody's going to bother you. You just click the subscribe button and maybe the like button too. And it moves our video up through the algorithm so that more people have an opportunity to see it. That's what it does, basically. So if you can, hit the subscribe button, and we would really appreciate that. Okay, so this Green New Deal. Shouldn't we spend enormous sums of money on the Green New Deal? Well, NASA, the space agency, NASA, has a report put out on climate, and they have some interesting things to say. So I want to read the opening paragraph of that report. I printed it out here. You can find it online yourself if you want. But what they say is Earth's climate has changed throughout history. Just in the last 650,000 years, there have been 7 cycles of glacial advance and retreat, with the abrupt end of the last ice age about 11,700 years ago, marking the beginning of the modern climate era and of human civilization. Most of these climate changes are attributed to very small variations in Earth's orbit that changed the amount of solar energy our planet receives. Okay, so what they're saying is, yeah, climate change is real. Of course it's real. It has been going on for a very, very long period of time. 11 major changes in the last 650,000 years. Okay, so it is a normal part of the physical phenomenon. It's something that happens naturally, and it has happened a bunch of times over and over again across the ages. Now, the NASA report goes on to say, and we have to be fair to note this, that how fast this happens makes it more or less of a problem. In other words, if the temperatures slowly go up and down and then stop at a reasonable increase or decrease, then that's just a normal part of the up and down of climate over many, many millennia. But if it starts going up too high, too fast, then that can be a problem. And so that's what they're saying. Temperatures are beginning to go up, or they have been going up quicker and going up a little higher. And so it's startling for some people. And that's why they say this is a problem that we need to address. Temperatures are going up, but they're going up faster, and they're going up maybe a little bit higher. And so this is dangerous, and we have to pay attention to that. Well, the United Nations, we all know who the United Nations are. They have produced a report on climate control. I got a copy of a response to that that was published by the Heritage Foundation. And what they said in their report, that is the UN report on climate control, what they said is if global temperatures go up 1 more degree, we will experience what they call a climate apocalypse. Okay, well, that's kind of a scary word, isn't it? Apocalypse, a climate apocalypse. To be honest, I'm not really sure what that means exactly. In their report, maybe they go ahead and explain that in more detail. But it does sound kind of scary, doesn't it? A climate apocalypse. Now, how did they arrive at their conclusion regarding the climate change and the terrible, terrible disaster that may come upon us? And I think this is probably what AOC and her other group of people are talking about when they said a couple years ago, we only have 12 years and the world is going to come to an end. There's going to be a climate apocalypse that basically destroys the planet. Okay, maybe that's what she got out of the research. I'm pretty sure that most people don't take it quite to that level. But the UN report did refer to it as a climate apocalypse. So how did they get there? Well, they have a very complex mathematical formula that they're using to calculate all the stuff that is happening and is going to happen and all that sort of thing. Now, here's the thing. I'm not questioning the math, okay? Math is math. The numbers add up. That's what the solution is, and so there's no reason to challenge the actual math that's involved. Temperatures are going to go up this much in this period of time, or whatever. But I do wonder about their conclusion in saying that if temperatures go up 1 more degree, there's going to be a climate apocalypse. Really? 1 degree? 20, 30 degrees, maybe, I don't know, but 1 degree? I think that may be a little bit of an exaggeration, to be honest with you. I don't see how 1 degree is going to make that much difference. I live here in Texas. In the summertime, it gets quite hot. 104, 105 in July and August is not out of the ordinary. And basically, when it gets up to 103, if it's 1 more degree and it ends up being 104, nobody cares. You can't even feel the difference between 1 degree. Okay, at least I can't. So how is this 1 degree from what everything is now, how is this 1 degree going to generate an apocalypse? And I think even more important than me questioning it and wondering if that's something of an exaggeration is that there are some other people, some scientists, who have used the United Nations' own formula, right? And this is the report done by the Heritage Foundation, where they've used the same system, the same formula that the UN was using, and this is what they see. This is what they've come up with. All right, so I'm going to read a paragraph out of this report. It's kind of down in the middle of the report. It says, using the same climate sensitivity as the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change assumes in its modeling, the world will be only 0.137 degrees Celsius cooler by 2100. Okay, now what does that mean exactly? Well, what they're saying is by using the same thing, that the same formula that the UN scientists used, we took that and we used it, and we calculated the lowering the emissions and all of this stuff. We used all their same numbers, and what we see is that if you run this thing out for about 78 more years until we get to the year 2100, okay, right now we're at 2021, we'll run it out 78, 79 years until we get to 2100, okay, what they're saying is the temperatures will have been reduced by 0.137 degrees, and they're using the Celsius scale, okay? So 78 years, tens of millions, billions of dollars, maybe even trillions of dollars, what they're talking about, and we get a fraction of 1 degree. Okay, that's all it is, a fraction of 1 degree. 0.137 cooler. Now, They go on to say, even if we assume, right, that every other industrialized country would be equally on board, and what they mean by that is that it's not just the United States, but all the other advanced countries that have cars, planes, trains, ships, etc., heating and cooling, where they use fossil fuels that go into the environment that they say is causing this, this problem. Okay, if every other advanced nation in the world gets on board with us and eliminates fossil fuels, okay, then this would merely avert warming by 0.278 degrees Celsius. Again, by the turn of the century. In other words, by the time we get to 2100. Okay, so if every advanced country in the world joins in with this, which we know they're not going to, all right, we already know they're not going to, but if they did, the result would be just a tad over 1/4 of a degree. Okay, so the 1 degree they're worried about, if it goes up 1 degree, apocalypse, okay? That 1 degree they're worried about, in 78 or 79 years after spending trillions and trillions of dollars, we can't even get it down 1 degree. The best we can do, if everybody's involved, is 0.278 degrees. Okay, now that's using the same formula and everything that the UN used to come up with their conclusion 1 degree before we get an apocalypse. Okay, 1 degree. So my question is, really? Does the Green New Deal make economic or environmental sense? That we're going to spend trillions of dollars to get rid of all fossil fuels immediately within just the very near future, as soon as we can, and everybody else has got to do the same thing, and then we're still only going to get just a tad over 1/4 of a degree. Does that make any sense at all? It just doesn't seem to me like it does. Now, here's the other side of this. Is global warming a problem? Apparently it is, okay? The temperatures are climbing. There's no denying that. They're going up. And so we have to ask why. And they're obviously going up a little faster than they have apparently in the past. And so we ask why. And the answer is always, well, because of the amount of pollution we're putting in the atmosphere from fossil fuels. Okay, so we need to work on changing that, right? But all at once, you cut off a pipeline and kill 11,000 jobs and all of the jobs that were related to that support business. You kill all that, and you start eliminating fossil fuels right away, and you spend trillions and trillions of dollars to accomplish this, and we're going to get just a little bit over 1/4 of a degree. See, that seems like so much of an overreaction to me. And, if they say, well, the scientists have said, you got to follow the science. Yeah, well, a bunch of scientists are saying, no, those numbers don't quite add up because, we used your same formula and we're going to get less than, or just a tad more than 1/4 of a degree. If everybody in the world does this, and we know they're not going to, so it's not even going to be that much. Okay, so this whole Green New Deal thing, we need to slow down. We need to slow down. We need to be working toward renewable sources of energy. There's no question about that. But that's going to take time, and rushing into it and expending trillions of dollars that we don't really have to spend, I don't think that's the answer. And there's an awful lot of people who also agree that that's probably not the answer. So think about that. Those are my thoughts for the day. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll watch more of our videos. Have a good day. Thanks.